Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host Mark. Today we got a Primarch episode. That's always fun. I didn't know much about Mortarion going into it. I know the basics or whatever, but going into it, I didn't learn much more. There's not a lot to him, honestly, especially his origins in Great Crusade. But the things that there are to him are pretty cool and exciting. So we'll do a quick health and wellness check. Who's with us today? We got Fishy. How's your health doing going into this episode?
My health was better at the start of the day. I managed to stab myself whilst cooking, so I'm rocking a little
Yeah,
improvised bandage.
no. That's
But
more of a
otherwise, I'm all good.
corn accident, though, than a
I mean,
normal
I
accident.
might get gangrene as yet.
Okay,
So,
let's see. Okay, that's fair. Well, we'll see how we'll monitor that wound as the episode progresses into nastiness. We also got TEO. How's your
Health
health
check.
and wellness?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm all
No
healthy
flesh
and clean.
wounds.
Clean bill of health.
Yeah. I like that. That's good. Me too. I'm feeling healthy and well. So we'll try to keep it that way. I did try to get sick. I went outside in the rain yesterday, tried to get all runny nose, but no, too healthy, couldn't do it. So
No, but there's always the end of the episode, right? Like
that's
we'll see how we last, right?
let's see how we last. Well, we got the Lord of Decay, Mortarion, the Primarch of the Death Guard, the favorite servant of Nurgle. Yeah, we're gonna do a whole fucking series here. Before we get into it, let's just do some housekeeping. Discord, come join the Discord.
absolutely, it's a great time. I sent one of the guys on the Discord a picture of my nipple this week. It's really alive and kicking.
It's a great time.
Exactly, and just to
Wow.
make it extra
All the
special, I
things.
have inverted nipples. But anyway, if you're lucky enough, click the link in the description below. Come and join the Discord and
And you
have a
too
great
can
time.
see Fishy's nipple.
Yeah,
I sent
I
it in
gotta go
DMs.
look in the Discord now.
I sent it in DMs. I didn't scar everyone. But
Nah,
you can put
that deserves a public post.
Yeah.
but you can, other than body parts, you can also put up photos of your models, talk lore, talk what books you read in, 40k video games, even just general artwork. It's a great community. Come and join in.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I'm still kind of caught up on this nipple thing. People, different
Yeah,
guests get
man.
different
Like,
gimmicks, and yikes. I want to come back to it maybe later.
I'm
Maybe
seeing
by the
a
end
whole
of the
new light.
episode, we can get you to pop that shirt off.
I mean, it
Whole
might
new
have
light.
dropped off by the end of the episode.
Yeah, you could just show it to us like that.
We've got
All
a teeth
right.
collection and we've got a nipple collection.
Oh, yes. Excellent. We can make a whole homunculus by the end of Lorehammer. Perfect.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, we also got a Patreon. Come join a Patreon. I had a Ponzi scheme going. I tried to donate $1 million to myself, see what would happen. Sure shit, it did not work. So come join the Patreon. A couple bucks can get you ad-free versions, and a $5 will get you live streams. You can come hang out with us as we do this. So it's always fun. This episode, like I said, there's not that much on Mortarion, so we definitely can get a call in at the end of the episode if you want to call in and talk Mortarion. It doesn't even have to be about what we talked in on this episode. We could jump ahead if you want to talk about maybe a little bit what he did in the horse heresy or whatever. We definitely got time. So yeah, come join the show. Let's get into this episode. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Primarch project. Just a quick refresher. I feel like it's been a minute since we've done this Primarch train. And then we'll go to his homeworld of Barbarus. Just a little peek of what's beneath the toxic clouds there. And then his origins, how Mortarion came to land there, and his rise on the planet, both as a leader and up the mountain, I suppose. And then we'll get into the Great Crusade, what him and his boys got up to. Yeah, it's interesting. There's this one quote where it's like, I think it's the Can who says it, and he's like, besides myself, I think Mortarion is the most underrated or underappreciated or unknown Primarch. There's this quote like that. I thought it was very interesting because yeah, even in the Great Crusade, it's like, yeah, he had maybe a couple battles. He did a lot. He conquered a lot of worlds, but you just don't hear about it. They're not out there for glory. They're not out there for their own oorah. They're just doing it. So yeah, we'll get into what they do. They go back to Barbarus a little bit. The Council of Nicaea, we'll talk about that. He's a big proponent of that one side versus the other. And yeah, we'll talk about what he's like as a person, as a friend, as a father of many little gene children, and his appearance, and his wargear. So it's gonna be a fun little episode. Oh, and some relationship with other Primarchs. You know, you don't think he had a lot, but when you get into it, he had a couple very. You're either in like the indifferent category, or you're in like the I don't like you very much kind of like, or they're like, okay, I respect you, but you're not my friend, but I'll respect you. So he's kind of got these three things: indifference, respect, hatred.
He you don't get a lot about Morty, but he's actually one of the traitor Primarchs I actually like the most.
What speaks to you about him, or what do you kind of
I
latch
don't
on?
know. I'm almost like I see a little bit of myself in him. He's a
You're a
miserable,
handsome
grumpy.
boy, though. You're not like a nurgly fellow.
No, but he's also equally a miserable, grumpy bastard.
Okay.
But is also like somewhat misunderstood. It's like he's miserable, he's grumpy, he's got a stick up him, but he's kind of like he's got principles. He's not a bad
He's got
guy.
principles.
He's not a bad guy, right? He's just
Yeah, it's funny that you
thought you were
say
going to
that.
go down. Oh, sorry.
No, you go for it.
I thought you were going to go down the STD route, some other kind of.
no. Luckily for me, no.
And it is another fallback of being a handsome young fellow with
Well,
a
Yeah,
great
it
bushy
is.
beard.
Yeah.
A
This is
great
true.
bushy beard.
I'm the other route, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Hence why I'm on this
that'll
podcast
happen.
potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're not with women. For sure. I don't know how I've managed to sneak one away to an island. Some people have accused me of kidnapping, but that's not for this episode. That's for
You-
some type of murder
That's
mystery
heresy.
pod.
That's heresy.
Yeah.
You've not been found guilty yet.
Not yet. No, never will be. Not for the tax evasion or anything else. All right, Mortarion. Yeah, let's get into him. Mortarion, the Pale King, the Death Lord, is one of the 20 Primarchs forged by the Emperor. Raised amidst the poisoned shrouds of Barbarus, he was granted command of the Death Guard upon the Emperor's arrival. Grim, stoic, and relentless, Mortarion became a figure of inevitable ruin, leading the Legion through the Great Crusade with implacable will and cold disdain for weakness. Do we want to spoil what happens to him? I think it's pretty obvious what happens to this guy. Like,
Yeah, I've been thinking about this, right? It's like we all know what happens.
yeah.
We all know
And
what
I think it
happens.
might be
And
easier to
obviously
kind of
having that
say what
shadow
happened. Yeah.
leading to him and again, obviously we'll talk about it in another episode, but the tragic downfall of Mortarion and this, that, the other. It's not a surprise.
Yeah, and well, you kind of said earlier, you're like, he's not he's an okay guy. He's not a bad guy. And then you kind of mentioned it again. He kind of has this fall to chaos where it isn't necessarily intentional. It's not the same as some of the other ones where it's like, oh yeah, okay, so
No,
Conrad Kurz went to chaos. Yeah, I get that.
we spoke a lot about a lot of guys like Conrad. We've got Lorgar. We've got Horus. They willingly or basically already there, right?
Yeah,
They
Willing
embrace.
or already
Yeah,
across the
they
line.
embrace.
You've got Angron. He was on the line, but didn't necessarily choose chaos. And then you've got people like Mortarion. You've got people like Fulgrim, where it wasn't necessarily a choice that they made. They just they picked a side on something that they didn't necessarily think was what it turned out to be.
The choice was made for them.
Pustules coming out your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
choice was definitely made for Fulgrim and Mortarion. Absolutely.
Yeah, and even all the big four Chaos Gods, they're made for Fulgrim, Mortarion, Angron, because he had the nails. That wasn't his choice. He's pretty much damned from the beginning. And then Magnus the Red, he was a loyalist until the wolves attacked him, and then he's like, okay, fuck this,
He became a traitor by trying to warn the Emperor.
Yeah. So it is fun that these and say with Mortarion, that these big four Chaos Gods that have these awesome demon Primarch models, we think of them as the most evil, the baddest of the bads. They got the very tragic backstory where they kind of unwillingly fall to chaos, or somebody else pushes them to it. It's it's still their fault, but it's not so black and white.
Weakness than through choice that they've made. They've not turned around and gone, yes, I embrace you. They've more kind of fallen to a weakness they already have.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That it's the fall to weakness for sure. It's not like the
Like,
fall
again,
to
it's
desire or
similar
ambition.
to what's been like mentioned in previous episodes. It's like that typical like religious thing of like the devil tempts you, he like plays on your weaknesses, things like that, and you fall to the devil because of temptation, because of weakness, all that kind of stuff, right? It's the top 4 guys that are the top 4 of the 4 chaos gods have fallen because of that temptation or that weakness, rather than like their own hubris or whatever. Like the weakness is what chaos has like preyed on, has crept in.
Yeah.
But is it weakness or is it really strength?
No.
It's weakness for those that don't embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's start off with the Primarch project. What is a Primarch? Just a quick little refresher and how we got to where we are.
So the Primarch project, it'd be handy if I can even say the word Primarch. It's been a long hot week over here in Britain for those of you who don't know. So if I sweat profusely, it's not simply
Yeah,
because
it's
I'm
hot.
nervous but
It's
chatting
hot
to
here
two
for
very
us.
attractive guys.
It's the plague coming for you. I'm sure of it.
It's a fever. That's what it is. I've got yellow fever. So the Primarch project was the Emperor's greatest work of genetic mastery, creating 20 superhuman sons to serve as generals, rulers, and exemplars for a reunited humanity. Each Primarch was engineered from the Emperor's own genetic template, possessing unique strengths and qualities intended to guide the Great Crusade. Before the project could be completed, dark powers intervened, scattering the infant Primarchs across the distant worlds through the warp. Cast alone onto hostile planets, each was shaped by the culture and hardships of their adopted homes. Experiences would define their character long before the Emperor finally rediscovered them and granted them command of their legions. It kind of goes back to what we're saying, is actually it's the nature nurture that we talk about constantly with Primarchs. Is so much of this is the nature of the Primarchs being that essence of the Emperor's specific things, emotions, skills, qualities, weaknesses, and the world that they grew up on, the culture that they're within. Who did they have to face? What were their hardships? How did they overcome them as well?
Yeah.
Or embrace them?
I've got some queries around that, right? Like, we'll come onto it when we go into like the next the next bit.
Hey, sorry to
Barbarus.
interrupt. Your mic got a little scratchy or something. Sorry to interrupt.
That's fine. I've changed headsets. Bear with. Better?
Nope. Yeah, maybe just make sure that new headset is actually connected up there.
Yep, better. We good?
No.
No. All right, I'll just switch back. It's fine.
Okay.
I can hear you better, but you can hear me worse.
And then the hand on the screen. Now that's podcasting. I love it.
Quick, he's got his nipples out.
He's got his the inverted nipples. Oh man, what does that even mean? Do I have to pull up a picture of it here? Okay, one second.
I mean, that's a hell of a show.
Let's pull up a picture.
It just means rather than pointing out, my nipples point in. That's all it is.
It's just a picture of Mortarion.
Hey, God damn it! That damn predictive text.
I could hear you better from the other headset, but the clearly the audible was much worse.
No, I think the audience will like this much more. I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that whole nature nurture thing. I was thinking about like, you can't really decide which one is which, and then just adding another layer. I was thinking about the chaos gods, like choosing which planets they fall on. Like Mortarion very clearly fell on like a plague planet, as we get into it with Barbarus. But the gods are timeless. Once they were born, they kind of extend across all the warp. And then the chaos gods were also the ones that snatched the Primarchs from the Emperor and flung them into the warp. So maybe there was some of that, like, definitely predictive spotting, and maybe they couldn't do it to all the Primarchs, but like they're like, yeah, we can definitely get these 4 in very specific locations. We can get these 5 in close enough locations, and the rest are like, you're on your own.
My issue's more anatomical, to be honest. Like, the Primarchs are supposed to be like obviously like superhuman. Like Astartes, pretty good at like cycling out toxins in the air and stuff like that. Primarchs are obviously going to be a step above that. I get him being like raised and like spending like what, like 20 odd years or like a death world, like a plague world, is gonna take its toll. But then coming away from that environment with his like super healing ability of a Primarch, you'd think like he'd eventually come out the fact of being like a wheezing asthmatic so and so.
I think he was touched in the pod, so like I don't know if they specifically state if his pod was cracked or anything. I know like some of the other Primarchs had cracked pods or like very clear mutations, like Sanguinius in his wings. Like Mortarion seems like he came out of the pod already touched, already had the pale skin, the sunken kind of flesh. Because I think he landed, as we'll get into it, in the middle of a battle. We'll get into it, and like right away, like he's noticed that he's different.
Yeah, because I was like, it always thinks of me like of these superhuman guys, right? Where they're like super strong, super amazing, super good at everything, super good at healing and all this stuff. But he's that, but with asthma.
He's got one hell of a dry cough.
Yeah, he's got terribly dry throat. His lungs just aren't there.
Just considering how big the Primarchs are, how big is his inhaler?
Yeah, it's like a whole like fire extinguisher size.
Yeah. I now want someone in the Discord to model an old school tactical marine.
GW's like outreach programs. Like, we need a Primarch with asthma.
Are you trying to suggest that Mortarion was in effect a diversity hire?
Yeah, it was a diversity hire.
No, he can't be. He's way too white.
Same
for
as
that.
Vulcan.
They would look at him and they would just pass.
We need a Primarch with this. We need one with that. Like asthma.
Man.
Get him in.
Asthma. Oh man, yeah. Warp touched Morty. So his planet Barbarus, he lands there. He gets flung through the warp, and he happens to land on this one.
Yeah, so it's not a nice place. Barbarus was a world of poison and shadow. The kind of place we all want to grow up. Shrouded beneath a perpetual fog and a sky dimmed by a dying sun. Lovely. Humanity endured only in the lowlands, while the toxic heights belonged to the Overlords, the cruel Xenos tyrants who dwelt within grim mountains, deeps beyond mortal reach. From these fortresses, they ruled through fear, reducing entire populations to servitude beneath their oppressive gaze. It was upon this bleak and death-haunted world that Mortarion came to rest after the scattering of the Primarchs, and where the foundations of the future Death Guard were forged. Yeah, cool. It's so grimdark, like when you think about it. Like you think about like these spires of like these alien overlords peeking out through like the top of like toxic fog where the masses live to like toil away. It's so 40k.
It's the ultimate feudal system.
Yeah. And be like, you can't rise up because you can't breathe. It's fine.
You can try, but you will die.
You can try, but you'll have an asthma attack halfway up that mountain.
Also, I'm immortal, so good luck killing me, even if you do get up here.
Yeah, I'm an alien. Doesn't say what sort of alien I am, but you best believe I'm gonna be stronger than a human.
Yeah, that's a nice little setup that they got there for sure.
It sounds like Victorian London.
The smog's so thick you can taste it. Delicious.
Yep. The good old days of Empire, right?
The origins of Morty. When the powers of the warp shattered the Primarch project, scattered the Emperor's sons across the galaxy, Mortarion was cast upon the poisoned world of Barbarus. Whether his fate was mere chance or the design of darker powers remains a matter of debate across the ages. What is certain is that no world could have shaped it more completely, for amidst its toxic For amidst its toxic mists, cruel overlords, and ever-present death, Mortarion forged the grim resolve that would define him for the rest of his existence.
Bit of a tongue
I ju-
twister, but cool.
I was going to say, you don't like yourself for writing that, do you?
No, amidst the toxic mists.
Amidst the
Yeah.
toxic mists. Yeah.
I see.
I mean, it
For
sounds
me,
cool. It's just not pleasant
Yeah.
to read.
I mean, for me, like on the origins of Morty, this is very much the guiding hand of Chaos Gods.
Yeah.
It feels like Nurgle's put in there.
Yeah, very much feels that
Yeah.
way.
You can see a similar
Oh.
thing with like Angron being like, I'm gonna pluck you in an arena where you literally only know violence and death.
But I think that
Like,
one's a
this is
gamble
insane.
because he could have got like put into the highborn like Reboot Gilliman and had that kind of transformation. So that was a gamble. That one wasn't as clear. Same with like Fulgrim.
No,
like he was
but
put
I
on
feel
this
like with
weird chemical death
Angron,
world.
like if you ain't born in that highborn, you ain't gonna be one. So if they just find some random kid in the desert, strong as he
Yeah, I
may be,
suppose.
like you getting put in the arena and you're gonna make the crowd roar. If anything,
Yeah,
you're
I
a payday because you look like an awfully good. You look like an awfully good like gladiator, and this is like Fishy was saying, like this is the same like precognition of you've ended up in a very toxic world. You've grown up around biochemicals and toxicity and stuff. Like it's very
Like I can't see a more
predestined.
Nurgle planet. I can't picture a more Nurgle planet.
No, not one that's actually like physically being touched by Nurgle. Like this one's like naturally like this, right? It's not become a Nurgle planet.
Yeah.
But I mean that it's sort of layers to me. Ironically, considering the toxic layer in the middle, you know, humanity, it has to sit below. They are underneath. They are below. They are lesser than death and plague. And once you go through it, you're then better. It's almost like this narrative, literary description of the whole process of Nurgle, of death, decay.
Yeah.
And now you're better.
Like you go through the pain and the suffering of plague, but you live forever and you become you enter Papa Nurgle's embrace and you have eternal sunshine on his
Sunshine,
pus-filled
lollipops.
love.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's great.
That's it. I'm off to get the plague. So we go back to nature and nurture with Mortarion's childhood. Barbarus, a bleak world shrouded in poisonous fog and ruled by cruel overlords who dwelt within the toxic heights. Humanity survived only in the valleys below, enduring a grim existence beneath the shadow of these necromantic tyrants and their twisted creations. Found amidst the dead by the greatest of the overlords, Nakar, or Nakari, depending on how you want to pronounce it, the infant Primarch endured where any mortal child would have perished. Naming him Mortarion, the High Overlord raised the Primarch within a lonely tower perched at the limits of his endurance, whilst Nakar himself ruled from peaks beyond even Mortarion's reach. There, the young Primarch was instructed in warfare, strategy, artifice, and hidden lore, mastering each lesson with relentless determination and a hunger for knowledge that could not be satisfied. Yet, as Mortarion grew, his gaze turned away from the teaching of his foster father and towards the suffering below. He questions the fate of the valley folk, who lived in fear and servitude, whilst the overlords harvested the dead and preyed upon the living. In witnessing their hardships, Mortarion's resolve hardened, and the first seeds of rebellion were sown within him.
Is he like a little Disney princess there getting locked up in the tower?
Yeah, I was thinking that. That was a bit feeling there. Yeah, I mean, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not that amazing with the Primarch lore. But he was found surrounded by dead bodies. who are undead warriors that have then been killed again in battle. Just as a baby crying, he was found by this overlord, who probably, and let's be honest, probably should have just killed him there and then, just dealt with it.
But curiosity, eh?
This is it. And again, it's sort of the hand of the god in there. Is there a little bit of control?
You get like a lot of like superstition with like the different branches of humanity, though, right? During like the Age of Strife, like there's a lot of superstition and religion and stuff that kind of branches out through all these things. So, although it's never explicitly said, this could be like an omen of the people of Barbarus, or like a prophecy of the people of Barbarus, like the child born surrounded by like 6 men or 8 men or whatever, is like he will bring such and such. Like that's part of the Emperor's like crusade, right? Is to like unite humanity and like stamp out all of these different like little cults that have risen up throughout humanity because of the Age of Strife. Like they've all raised their own religions because of this fracturing and like this, that, the other. Like they spent thousands of years apart. They've all got their own like little cult and things now. So for all we know, yes, this is Nogle's hand playing forward, but he's playing it forward into the cult of Barbarus, where they go, "Oh, this is the chosen one," almost,
Yeah. That's a fun thought. Or you...
Go on, Mark.
No, you go for it.
No. I will get a nipple out. I will get my nipple out if you don't.
No, go for it, please, my friend.
He's literally born from death in Nikari's eyes. Just a baby appears after a battle, surrounded by death. To me, it's just what's going to happen to this poor kid.
It seems bad, but it also screams prophecy.
Yeah, that prophecy idea is fun. Like you could definitely even see the Emperor kind of like reaching out and planting some seeds of prophecy of that. Like, I'm gonna need this planet to take care of this baby.
Like you can see that, like it screams prophecy, like a crater with a baby in the middle, surrounded by like dead bodies. Like
even if it wasn't a prophecy, they made one up then. They're like, oh, this has to be something.
Yeah, like an unharmed baby as well. Like, okay, this means something. Clearly, this means something.
I mean, even in childhood, like Nakar, the Overlord, seems switched on. He knows this kid is special. Yeah. Because he's
that's a theme that runs through a lot of the Primarchs, right? Is that they kind of twig on quick, like this ain't a normal kid.
Yeah. No. But he also knows, right, I'm going to teach you everything I know. I'm going to throw all the knowledge and try and weaponize you as best I can for my own benefit.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what your limit is, and I'm going to place myself beyond that. So if it does all go wrong, at least I'm safe.
Yeah.
So there's that sort of almost doubt within his own head straight away that, this could not go my way.
Yeah, and I only have a daughter for a kid, but if you have boys, I think you would probably feel that feeling often as you watch them start to slowly like arm wrestling, like, oh, I actually almost have to try now. And then they get 18, you're like, oh my God, he's really strong. Like,
yeah, especially when your child's like a Primarch.
then yeah. So it didn't take 18 years, it only took a year, and then all of a sudden
you're only 8 and I now can't win. Okay.
Yeah, let's put myself beyond you again.
All of a sudden, I'm scared to arm wrestle my 18-month-old boy in case he's a Primarch.
Yeah, man, don't risk it. Don't do it.
If you can feel that pressure, he's probably a Primarch.
Oh,
damn it!
Man. Yeah.
Does that make me the Emperor?
No, just makes you some random guy.
The jury's out on that one, I'm afraid. You might just be an adoptive father.
Yeah. What do you do?
But Mortarion was not satisfied, though, unfortunately. Was unable to find the answers he sought from Necromantic. He abandoned the fortress and served as like both home and a prison. So descending through the poisonous mists of Barbarus, he discovered that the oppressed people of the valleys were his own kind, and he swore to free them for the rule of the Overlords. Though the villagers regarded the pale stranger with suspicion, he soon proved his worth when he slew the warlord's monstrous servants and pursued the masters into the deadly fog, striking him down with where no mortal could follow. Accepted amongst the valley folk, Mortarion devoted himself to their defence. He travelled relentlessly between the settlements, teaching the arts of war, fortifying villages, and forging unity amongst a people long accustomed to fear. The strongest and most resilient warriors were gathered beneath his banner, trained with uncompromising discipline and hardened by constant struggle. Knowing that victory demanded endurance as much as strength, Mortarion enlisted smiths, craftsmen to create armor capable of withstanding toxic mists. With every campaign, his followers adapted, pushing ever higher into the poison mountains and breaking the dominion of the low overlords peak by peak. In time,
That's fucking
only a
tight.
single fortress remained unconquered, the highest summit of Barbarus, where Necromantic awaited his rebellious son. Like again, like it just sounds more and more and more like a prophecy, like the last bastion that stands on the highest peak of the highest mountain is
Yeah.
his adopted father looking down as his adopted son gathers the people behind his banner and one by one conquers the villages, you know.
Yeah.
Is this the Lion King?
It's close. Yeah. Hey.
Pretty much, yeah. The Lion King, but with plague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Was it like in like Lion King 2, they had like the hyena valley that was all plagued out or something like that?
Yeah.
Or like 1.5 or something.
Yeah, it was
We don't
all,
need
like,
to go into Lion
smoky
King.
and like yeah.
I don't even
know
think
what
that's
you
like
mean.
double nerding. That's like just
That's Disney nerding. That's not that's
just
Disney
culture.
nerding.
That's fucked.
Wow. Yeah, we've reached new levels.
Yeah,
I mean,
Disney
it's
nerding.
slightly sad that the whole tallest tower. I mean, double nerding maybe Shrek. You've got the princess locked away in the tallest tower in the tallest mountain, and
it's a new venture for Lorehammer to touch Disney.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think I'm gonna like it very much.
No, but we've touched all mediums now.
Okay. We've touched it all now.
We've touched it all,
New podcast,
especially with
your Christian
Mortarion.
Lion King lore.
Lion King lore.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll pass that on to him.
Grimaldus has a point. That's a new Christian podcast.
Yeah.
Lion King lore.
God damn.
So long as they don't ruin 40k like they ruined Star Wars.
Oh god damn. Did you see Sean Strickland just tweeted today? He's like, fine, I'll admit it. I like 40k, and they better not turn it gay.
Too late.
And I'm like, oh Sean, you sweet lovable summer child. Yeah, they turned it gay like 10 years ago, boy. And now we just
I
was gonna say, should we invite him on the podcast?
My boy.
I tweeted at him, said, come on, Lorehammer, but I don't think that's gonna really go anywhere. But you never know. You never know.
If that's his concern, there's a lot more for him to be worried about in Warhammer, let's be honest.
Yeah. He probably has that one already, yeah. But hey, maybe everyone that's listening needs to just message Sean Strickland and then on Twitter, and then we'll just say go on Lorehammer. You know, we can't get Henry Cavill, but maybe we can get some wrestler.
Now we've got a British team. We might
burn his tiny little brain by realizing like what happens in the Warhammer 40k universe.
Yeah.
If he's worried about homosexuality, he's got another thing coming.
Yes, wait till he finds out about Slaanesh. But no, we'll talk about the coming of the Emperor. Though he had risen against the overlords of Barbarus, Mortarion hesitated to strike at Nirikar. How'd you guys say that guy's name?
I've said Nekatari.
I put Nakar.
I think I like that better than Nekatari. Nikatar, the tyrant who had raised him at the Council of callous Typhon, he abandoned the assault, accepting that neither he nor his warriors were yet prepared to challenge the High Overlord upon his final peak. Returning to the valleys, he found his people captivated by the arrival of a mysterious stranger who promised deliverance from the suffering of Barbarus. Mortarion confronted the newcomer, insisting that his people required no savior beyond himself. The stranger observed that even Mortarion's growing rebellion had failed to overthrow Nekari, and offered a simple bargain. Should Mortarion slay the High Overlord, the stranger would depart. Should he fail, he would swear allegiance to the stranger and the Imperium he represented. Driven by pride and grim resolve, Mortarion ascended the poisonous heights alone. Yet the air surrounding Nikitar's citadel was more deadly than he had faced before. His armor corroded, his strength faltered, and he collapsed before the fortress gates. As consciousness abandoned him, he saw Nikikar descend from the stronghold to deliver the final blow. In that moment, another presence pushed back against his mind, a distant voice promising understanding, endurance, and mastery over death itself. I don't think that was the Emperor.
No, it doesn't sound good, does it?
No. Before Nekari could strike, the stranger intervened. With a single blow, he slew the Overlord, ending the reign of Barbarus, greatest tyrant. When Mortarion awoke, he honored the oath he had given and pledged himself to the stranger, who revealed himself as the Emperor of Mankind, his true father. The Emperor granted Mortarion command over the 14th Legion, the Dusk Raiders, who soon adopted the names and traditions of the Death Guard. Yet the victory brought no satisfaction. Nekari had fallen by another's hand, and vengeance, Mortarion believed was his by right, had been denied. The bitterness of that moment endured, settling deep within him, a slight grievance that would never truly fade. He's
cool.
got that bitterness coming up already. A couple times now.
Bitterness.
That's
pride.
one of the cool things I think about Morty is like he's got that. He's just a bit of grumpy bastard. He doesn't really have a reason. Obviously, he grew up in the Death World. Most of the traitors do.
That's a pretty good reason, but
it's a pretty good reason. But like, obviously, he's not necessarily been slighted. Like, obviously, we've seen with Perturabo where like he's sidelined and he's treated a little bit like a second-class citizen compared to like other Primarchs. Morty's not really. He's just grumpy. He's just a miserable bastard.
Like, it's not like he knows about what the outside world is like. He doesn't know that there's a better thing. This is just the standard quo. So he doesn't have something. It's not like somebody killed his father or did something like that to him.
Yeah, and it's not like I said, Perturabo, where he's like got an equivalent with like Dawn, where they're basically doing like the same thing, but one's getting the worst jobs than the other.
Yeah.
Like Morty's just like, nah, I'm just grumpy as fuck. Who cares?
I mean, to me,
it's also interesting is that he's also this has been mentioned on like previous episodes and stuff before as well. It's like even from like his like childhood, he's hearing like the whispers. Like you don't get that with other Primarchs. Like you don't get Angron having like Corn whisper in his ear, being like, "Let go of the anger, embrace the rage." You know, like that Obi-Wan Kenobi like voice in the ear, like embrace the rage.
Yeah.
Like he's getting the like, I will give you everlasting life. Pain will mean nothing. Like he's getting that like from the get-go.
Yeah.
To me, I read it as pride. He comes in, and it's a confrontation with the Emperor the first time he meets him.
Yeah.
Like, I am the savior of this planet. How dare you come and offer salvation from elsewhere? Oh, yeah, sure. I'll take that bet because I know I'm not going to lose.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of, I am the big daddy here. And
but that's also
he gets humbled. So yeah,
that's every Primarch, right? They all take that bet.
And it's how they then take that humbling.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's where those voices creep. Because if you sit and fester on
he
those
takes
voices,
that humbling. He may not take the humbling well, but other ones that also get humbled and it doesn't necessarily go well, they also don't necessarily have a Chaos God going in there and going, I can give you what you wish.
Doesn't help.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's a bit like a wound in itself. He sits and festers with those voices.
Yeah.
He dwells on it.
like,
Yeah, and then
even
he
like
thinks he's the best. Like you kind of said, like he's like so prideful that the Emperor tries to help him, and he says no. And it's like he's like, no, I don't want this outside stranger to help, even though he himself is like this outside stranger that to these people. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it's not like the Emperor looks like he's an alien. It's like, no, I don't need an alien's help. Like it's the same story, but then he didn't want that help, even though it's like the Emperor is your story, dude, of you coming and helping these people. That's your story. No, you don't want that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Mortarion, if I'm honest. I think he is a cool character. He's got issues, but find me a Primarch that doesn't.
Yeah.
For me, his whole story is just top level. There's not much about it, but I don't think you need much. I think if you wrote more about this
but
planet,
like working
you'd
through like the
lose
Horror
its
Heresy
touch.
books, like
Yeah.
from like 1 all the way to like where I think I'm on like 42 or something. I've not missed a single one. Even the anthologies I've read, right? Like he's a cool character.
Yeah. And I think with like the Emperor's arrival, I always find it interesting, like with the guys he's fighting and the armies he's fighting, they're literally fighting their forefathers. They're literal mums and dads who have just died, been raised from the dead, and then turned into an army to fight them. So, in a way, he's fighting death and what has come before. But it's pointless.
That's a gross thought, yeah.
Mm,
Fight your
yeah.
undead grandparents.
And it's almost ironic what he then becomes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love the imagery in it. It's great.
Yeah, he's got a cool aesthetic as well.
Mm.
Like, and the Death Guard as well, right? Like pre-plague. They're cool looking guys. They're cool guys.
So, Mortarion honoured his oath and bent the knee to the Emperor upon his recovery. Though the cost of Barbarus lingered in him as enduring scars both of flesh and spirit, a proven warlord in his own right, he was granted command of the 14th Legion, taking it as his own and reshaping it in his image and purpose. When he first addressed them, Mortarion stood as a grim, spectral figure, cloaked and bearing the black scythe once taken from Nakar. To the Terran-born Dusk Raiders, he must have appeared as a living embodiment of death itself. His voice was low, harsh, and unwavering as he declared them his unbroken blades, reborn as the Death Guard, bound to deliver judgment and spread inevitable doom across 1,000 worlds. By his decree, the Legion's identity was remade. The name Death Guard replaced all that had come before, and his words were etched into the Reaper's scythe. The Legion's battle barge marking the moment of transformation. From that point onward, the Dusk Raiders ceased to exist in name or record, becoming instead a force defined by Mortarion's grim doctrine. In time, the Legion's composition shifted. Once largely Terran-born, it came to be drawn almost entirely from Barbarus, altering its culture and character. By the late Great Crusade, tensions had grown between the Barbarus-born Astartes and the diminishing Terran veterans who still remembered the old ways of the Dusk Raiders. These divisions became more evident in the years leading to the Istvan III betrayal, when Mortarion identified those he believed would not follow him into rebellion against the Emperor. Many of the doomed loyalists were Terran-born, warriors whose allegiance to the Emperor outweighed even their bond to their Primarch, and among them stood figures such as Battle Captain Nathaniel Garrow of the 7th Great Company. He just whitewashes him. I don't care who you were before me. I have no interest. I'm here now.
He does it literally and physically as well, because doesn't
Yeah.
he change their armor to like this like off-white, bone white kind of like color, as
Yeah,
well.
let's
Like
do-
similar to like the Khan, right? Where you kind of
this
get
was
like the
30
my way or the
Ks.
highway
Mm.
type. We're gonna repaint everyone. Everyone's gonna be like this new image, and we're gonna move forward with my way, or you're gonna get marginalized, right? I
And it
think
kind of
it seems to happen with most Primarchs.
and it kind of reflects his distrust of that interloper coming to Barbarus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust the Terrans, so we're going back to Barbarus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This guy tricked me.
a lot of Primarchs seem to have that kind of
Yeah.
certain. Well, no, I suppose not a lot of them, but like ones you'd expect, right? The traitors and lone wolves like the Khan.
Yeah.
The traitors go, don't know this Terran malarkey coming in here, or the Khan being like, we'll just do it our own way. It's fine.
See, I love the fact that he has the scythe because he was amongst the peasants, and it's like this ground roots rebellion revolt that he led on Barbarus. You know, the scythe was a farming tool. It's got all kinds of iconography with the Grim Reaper,
Mhm.
which of course will undoubtedly still flow through
It's-
after 30,000
It's
years.
like
Yeah.
the peasants' rebellion in like was it China, I think.
Mm.
Like the Middle Ages, where they had to use farming tools to overthrow the warlords because like weapons were banned.
Yeah.
So that's how they ended up developing loads of martial arts based around like scythes and like threshing tools and like short staffs and things like that. It's because they were just like peasant tools
Yeah.
that they then developed martial arts around because they were the only tools that they could like get their hands on. Because you couldn't have a sword or an axe or whatever because you'd probably get executed.
Yeah.
So like small hand scythes and like chains with like balls on the end that were like for like threshing wheat and like short staffs and things like that. That became like the weapon, and they developed martial arts and like karate and things like that developed around using those specific kinds of weapons because that's what the peasants could get their hands on. So it's similar with like the Death Guard, where they're like overthrowing the warlords.
But wasn't the scythe the Nikiria guys? Isn't this like a
So-
Xeno scythe?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think he
or
used the scythe.
his one's Necatere's one. It doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't have it as like a farming tool already. Like he specifically had
yeah.
like Necatere had like a specific
Yeah,
like
yeah.
black scythe that was his that Mortarion then took
There
upon
is-
his death.
I have seen an image of Mortarion pre meeting the Emperor. And it is just him with a scythe, no power armor, nothing like that. I'm just trying to find it. There it's on the
Then again,
lexicon.
if they're farming with scythes, what kind of crops are they like growing on this like plague-ridden, toxic wasteland?
Potatoes, I think.
GM
Just
crops, right?
potato. Yeah. It's on the
I'm sorry. I work in agriculture. I'm an agriculturalist. What kind of potatoes are you growing that you need a scythe?
Yeah, it's a strange question.
Busted.
There's crazy.
You know me,
Armenian
I'm a
kind.
chicken farmer, and you know what kind of chicken farming I do. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but that image to me, it's this. You know, he's moved back down for the people below, for the people of the valley, because he was sickened with all of this horrible hierarchical nature of the planet. So he's gone down there and he's fought with them. He's defeated everyone apart from the last man, and then he was interrupted and blah blah blah. So what he's gone and done, and he's just gone into the Dusk Raiders and walked all over them. And it's sort of that irony. Pride is beginning to creep in. Those negative traits are beginning to creep in already.
Yeah, and like it's not even like he was the one who slayed the Overlord, and he's like coming in like fresh off a hot victory. Like, yeah, we're gonna do it my way. Clearly, I know what I'm up to. Like, he came in and he's like, no, Emperor, his armies, no, fuck what they're doing. I know, like,
He's actually more
okay.
like a stroppy teenager.
Again, like we was kind of saying about like the Khan, like he'd united all the clans and like conquered the planet, and he'd done the business to turn around and be like, "Oh no, you can join me.
Yeah,
I'm not
when he
joining
did like his
you
whole
can
like
join me."
blood ritual thing, like that was such a cool thing.
Yeah,
Like gathers all the tribes. Like, yeah, he had that
yeah.
right. He earned that
He'd
right.
already done that. He'd united a whole planet, all the tribes are under his banner, and be like, "Oh, basically, you're like a new tribe coming in. You have to like blood yourself the same as all the other tribes have had to do." Mortarion's just come in and gone, "No, no, no, no.
Nah.
I don't care for any of this. I don't care for your Terran ways. I don't care for this, that, the other. I'm from this shitty planet, and we're going to do it the same way my shitty planet did it. And that's the last I'm going to hear about it."
Down your swords and pick up a scythe. Like, are you sure about this? Trust me, it's gonna be great.
Can you breathe? Can you breathe? Okay, you can. Just wear a rebreather anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
But the speaking of the Death Guard, when Mortarion was found, the Great Crusade was already an unrelenting tide of conquest, sweeping outward from terror, bringing fractured human worlds back into compliance under the Emperor's expanding Imperium. Legion after legion had been unleashed into the void, breaking Xenos dominions and shattering isolated human empires with brutal efficiency. Yet even as star systems were claimed, vast regions of the galaxy remained uncharted, their horrors untouched by Imperial light. It was into this era of relentless expansion and escalating war that the Emperor came to Barbarus. And there he reclaimed Mortarion, binding the Death Guard to the wide machinery of the Great Crusade. So yeah, like it's one of those ones like it's not an early son like you get with like Horus, where like they become buddy pals. Buddy
Yeah, like I
crusading
think
pals.
he is the 12th or the 13th or something like that, like right around the middle area. So yeah, like
Yeah.
things have been happening, things have been going on. And it even just goes back to and he came in and changed like this possibly 100-year-long tradition that the Dusk Raiders have built up. And he's like, nah.
Yeah,
I
that's it.
suppose.
Like
Yeah. Go on.
him and Horus have been like chuckle buddies crusading away. The Dusk Raiders been doing their thing, and Mortarion goes, "I'm here now. Not a fan of that. And you guys need to do things differently. So shall we?"
Shall we? But it was pretty effective. Death God was very effective in the Great Crusade. When Mortarion was found, uh, the Crusade was already an unrelenting tide of conquest sweeping outward from terror, bringing fractured human worlds back into compliance under the Emperor's expanding Imperium. Legion after legion had been unleashed into the void, breaking Xenos dominions and shattering isolated human empires with brutal efficiency. Yet, as the star systems were claimed, the vast regions of the galaxy remained uncharted to their horrors. Did we just fucking read this? I feel like we just
Yes.
fucking read this. All right. Sometimes my
And,
copies and my pastings,
it's fine, bro.
so we'll never
I think
know what the Death Guard did. No, they kind of, like I said, they had kind of a lot of battles that just kind of go unnoted. And it's not that they weren't important. They just kind
I
of
like the way they do stuff. Obviously, like we'll talk about it more in like the specific Death Guard rather than multi episodes, but like there was a small pinch of Death Guard in when I like created the Sons of Jotun.
yeah.
Like that, like the way they do stuff where they're the kind of guys that are just gonna like take a bunch of bolt shells and just kind of shrug it off and be like, "Is that it?"
Got a job to do.
Yeah, just
Got a job to
what?
do.
It's that sort of. Come on, I want a
Yeah, and
challenge.
it's
Which is kind of like yeah.
with like the rust on oil, like pre-Nurgle as well, like rust and oil and stuff, like very like machinery aesthetic on their armor, being like doesn't need to be polished. Like it's not parade armor. I'm here to like fight a war.
Very
It doesn't need to
practical.
look nice. It needs to just do a job. Thanks. I'm just gonna go grind my way through a bunch of Xenos.
And
It's a good
just
living.
going back a step, with being like 13th Primarch found, he's going to have seen what Russ has done with his Legion, you know, what Manus has done with his, what all the other Primarchs have done. So
Yeah.
he might even be trying to hit the ground running.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Trying to put a positive spin here.
The PR team's working hard for him.
We
he
try.
also might feel like he's got something to prove, right? Like he failed to overthrow his overlord and kind of like had to get rescued.
Yeah. And I
it's
suppose
kinda
like
if,
I didn't need rescuing, Dad.
I think though, like only him and Angron were the only two that didn't actually conquer their planet. I think everyone else did. I know so far everyone else did, and even just like I'm thinking into the future Primarchs, pretty sure they all did too.
Yeah, and they also both need rescuing, right? Like Angron's like a slave gladiator
Yeah.
fighting like a slave rebellion in like his last holdout in like the mountains and encircled and about to be destroyed before the Emperor saves him. Mortarion is like, I mean, it sounds like he's almost on the cusp of victory, but
I
that
suppose,
last
yeah,
mountain,
like it would have done the same thing. The outcome would have been the same though. He would have climbed up there with or without his army, and he still would have got knocked unconscious. So
yeah.
and the Emperor then like wouldn't have been there to save him, so he would have been dead.
But
Or back in
Nagel
his special
apparently
little
still would
tower.
have, whispering his sweet nothings.
Yeah.
So, Mortarion's leadership style. Mortarion led from the front, and during every hardship he demanded of his legion. A lot of time for that leadership styling, having served under officers that very much were the opposite of that. It's nice to see. He neither sought glory nor commanded from safety, instead sharing the poisoned battlefields, endless marches, and brutal campaigns alongside his warriors. His authority was built upon example rather than inspiration, earning the Death Guard's loyalty through unwavering resolve and the certainty that their Primarch would never ask them to suffer more than he would endure them himself. Yeah, it's kind of a summary of almost a perfect leader.
Yeah,
At
that's
least
one
in
of the
my mind.
things I kind of like about him. He's a no frills kind of leader.
Mm.
Like, you
Yeah.
get some of the other guys like you get Fulgrim where it's all like splash and dash and like frills and stuff, or like Horus is all like oratory and like leading from the front, but from like a fabulously grand speech or whatever. Like Mortarion doesn't care for any of that. He's just there grinding away.
Yeah. The only judgment I would give is as soon as he's fighting, he's not doing his job. At least that's what I was always thought. You know, but this endless march, I will be at the front. I will be beside you. I'm in amongst my men. We are one and the same. It's that commons
It's that kind of
route.
like that more medieval view of like warfare, right?
Yeah.
Being like the leader is on his horse leading the charge at the front. He's amongst the men. He's the guy that's like giving the inspirational speech, but like front of the charge. He's not like in future. Well, the next kind of like iteration of warfare. Like he's not wearing like a powdered wig, directing musketeers around. You know, like he's in the front, making the charge in the shield wall, like sword drawn, right there in the thick of it.
Yeah,
it's that kind of like more medieval sort of leadership, you know, rather than like that more modern tactical strategic leadership where you've kind of like there's a lot more moving pieces. He's just like, I don't care, I'm going to be there with my boys, clash and steel, grinding away.
And I suppose that's going to run through the lifeblood of those from Barbarus, those new recruits coming in. You know, they know his history on the planet, that he came down, he fought amongst the people of the valleys,
and it's going to breed that loyalty as well, right? Amongst your legionettes, Like if you're fighting, like obviously your legionnaires are going to have like an inbred degree of loyalty to the Primarch, but if he's shoulder to shoulder with them in the lines, swinging a scythe, but like he's there, there's going to be like that higher degree of admiration and loyalty, and like you'll follow him into everything, heresy, treachery, like whatever, compared to, oh, like the Lords told us we're going to rebel against the Emperor. Well, I've not seen him in like 10 years. Like, why would I follow him against the Emperor?
Do you think he had to change his story at all? Like, no one would have known what happened on top of the mountain unless Mortarion or the Emperor said anything. You know,
I feel he's
they
too
would
proud.
run up there and then they come back down and kill. Yeah, exactly, right? So I wonder if even his planet knows what happened, that he got slapped down. So like this whole, you guys are talking about, like they look up to him like they're the leader. It's like, yeah, I could see that, except for when they find out that he lost. Then that might put a kink in it all, but maybe they never did.
No, well,
But
they
again,
they
it's
must
also
have.
that he may have lost, but he still won them their freedom.
Sure.
That kind of flip side of like
the
he may have
Emperor.
not like delivered the final blow, but it was him that delivered them from like the servitude. They still honor him and follow him, because without him they would still be serving those kind of overlords, you know?
Yeah, and like they still conquered like a bunch of mountains before that last one. Like he still was very important or whatever. But like, man, when it just comes to the final, like the crowning achievement, the crown went to somebody else.
Maybe that's kind of why in his head he needs to be in the front line. Maybe he's compensating. Maybe he's like almost repaying the debt, like paying that kind of like, I need to like earn that victory, you know?
Or that's like what's eating him inside, where it's like why he's so bitter over time, because he's just like, my people look slightly less than they should of me. Or like I said, he never told them, and he's now has this secret, and that will eat him alive too.
Well, how do you explain him going off and serving the Emperor if he doesn't tell them? So they must know, surely.
Yeah, I think he's too
but
proud.
Maybe like he's just like, we have our planet, we go crusading now. Like, I don't know. I feel like
I feel like he's too proud, and it's too convoluted and difficult to like cover it up. And then it leads to him being bitter and needing to compensate, and that's a bit of a slippery slope to be on, especially for a grumpy bastard, right?
Yeah.
But in the decades following their renaming, the 14th Legion fought without pause in service to the Great Crusade. Under Mortarion's unyielding command, the Death Guard became a force of attrition and inevitability, advancing from war to war with no desire for respite or conquest beyond the next annihilation. They did not hold worlds or build upon them. They erased resistance, leaving only silence in their wake. Like a creeping blight, their progress was slow, deliberate, and impossible to halt. That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier when I was saying, like, I took a pinch of Death Guard when I was kind of like coming up with the idea of the Sons of Jotun. Is that kind of like unrelenting, implacable, like wall of death, where they're not fussed about like building an empire or rebuilding a civilization. Like, there's an enemy in the way that needs to not be in the way, and they don't care. Kind of like between A to B, that's getting done, you know.
Yeah, it's not about holding ground or empire building. Yeah, it's just about advancing,
cruising through, smashing through, and just laying waste to the enemies of the Imperium. Which, you know,
surely there's that kind of grinding on the Xenos is heretical. Yeah, probably a little, but can't stop us all.
If it's in the Emperor's name. you're fine. You're fine if it's
So,
in the Emperor's name, and you can bless the ground afterwards.
Or
Plant
your
the Emperor.
Gulliman. Or
with
your
your
Gulliman.
seed, or that.
And that's
Well,
fine.
Yeah, then you can have your Eldar girlfriend, and no one can say otherwise.
Well, of course. If you're the new regent, you make the rules, right?
Exactly.
It's like getting a new manager coming at work.
Yeah, it's like the new king. It's like Henry VIII, right? He turns around and goes, "No, I've got a new religion, and I can do whatever I like."
And to bring it back to Mortarion, that's kind of what he's doing with his legion.
Yeah.
Yeah. To a degree, yeah. I mean, he did reshape the Legion's creed into something harsher, still refining its doctrine into a philosophy of absolute endurance and uncompromising destruction. At its core lay a single conviction: humanity could only be free through the complete eradication of those who would oppress it. Mercy was irrelevant, restraint was a weakness, and every atrocity was a justified tool in the pursuit of the final liberation. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that screams Third Reich.
Who?
Like, we're just doing this so that
Germany,
humanity can be
1930s to
free.
40s.
We're just doing this for the good of humanity. We'll all be free. Don't worry about how we do it. Just worry about that we do it. And we'll all be
There's no
better
such
off in
thing
the
as
end.
war crimes, not if you win.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
it's
pretty
been
sure
it-
the Nazis thought what they were doing was for the benefit of mankind. I'm
it's
pretty sure the
literally
entire doctrine was certain things and religions and mindsets were a blight on the progression of mankind, and therefore what they were doing was for everyone's benefit.
I mean, communism does that. Every ideology does
They
that.
do, but the Nazis
mean-
leaned on it super heavy.
See, I read it very differently. I read it as if he's trying to be a man of the people.
Yeah.
Much like with the scythes, we're going back to that imagery of the scythe being a farming tool. He went down to the people of the valley. He served among them, even though initially they sort of slightly shunned him. They didn't trust him, but he endeared them to him, which kind of speaks to Papa Nurgle. I'm actually your friend. Embrace death.
I'd agree with
I
that.
might
if
look
it
ugly.
was- I'd agree with that if it didn't talk about things like uncompromising destruction and complete eradication.
Find me an Astartes force that isn't all about.
Yeah, those are just words on paper.
Salamanders.
I mean, they burn everything. There's no more
They do,
absolute
but they're still there
destruction.
for the Imperial people. Whereas these guys seem to be like, oh, you don't want to believe in the Imperial Creed? Well, I'm afraid you're going to get the scythe.
So those people don't matter. They don't believe in the Emperor, so...
Yeah, they're barely even people at that point.
Well, that's true. That's
And
true.
let's be honest, people within the Imperium are barely even people.
Yeah. They're numbers. They have their number, and that's what they're worth. But in warfare, the Death Guard excelled at drawing out and breaking the enemy. Their resilience allowing allied forces such as the Lunar Wolves to deliver decisive blows. This grim synergy brought them repeated success, and in time, Mortarion found a measure of respect in Horus, the Warmaster who understood how to wield such tradition and such a weapon. Mortarion found himself remained distant and severe, his aspect defined by his scythe and respirator that marked his survival of Barbarus. Amongst his brothers, he stood apart, respected yet feared, only Horus and Conrad Kurz sharing any meaningful rapport. Even then, doubts lingered amongst some that his loyalty rested more on Horus than the Emperor, a suspicion dismissed at the time, but later proven to be truth. I mean, if your best friends, like Horus, fine, until he turned traitor, alright, he's pretty genial kind of guy. But if your other best mate is Conrad Kurz,
Did we not all have that emo friend at school, though?
This is Tommy.
Yeah, but
Tortures
if
small
you're a
birds.
bit of an outcast and you have an even more weird mate that likes to flay people,
Yeah.
maybe you
Right,
should
so-
rein it in a bit.
So this is the thing when you go on a night out, though, if you're looking to attract women, is you go out with a friend who's less better, like less worse looking than you, so you look better.
Yeah, I suppose so. Right, he's like, I'm not
yeah.
such a bad guy because
Look at this
Hey,
guy.
least I
I
don't
may be
flay
virus
folk.
bombing people, but yeah, I'm not flaying them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Their skin peeled off either way, but I didn't technically do it with a knife.
I didn't do it with a knife. The chemicals did it.
If you look at the three of them, to me, Mortarion is in the middle.
Yeah,
Part of it is kind of pride and
It's-
pleasure of doing the atrocities.
it's
Horace-
almost like the progression.
Yeah, Horace is
Right.
doing it for a reason. It's war. You will have casualties. You need to win the war. You do anything that
Like,
it takes.
Conrad's got the pale skin, but he's got hair. Lose that hair and stick a respirator on it. He's basically a Horus, but with like 80 skin, right?
Yeah.
Respirators don't make you a bad guy, guys. Just to clarify,
No,
just
no.
to reassure all of the Deathcore of Creek players out there,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
the bad guys. It's okay.
It's spikes.
No.
If somebody has spikes, that's what you gotta look out for.
Wearing
Spikes or
pickle
farming
hub,
tools.
like M41 helmets with a respirator doesn't make you a bad guy.
Just makes you a man of the time. So we'll dive into the inheritance of Barbarus. Endless solar decades of war reshaped the Death Guard beyond recognition. The Terran legacy of the Dusk Raiders and the Officio Militaris faded into obscurity, replaced entirely by the bleak doctrines of Barbarus, where survival and attrition defined all things. Their armor reflected this change. The Legion's ceramite, once marked by varied heraldry, became stark ivory gray, unadorned by save for mute jade sigils echoing the poisoned mud of Barbarus's swamps. Even the old symbols of terror were stripped away, leaving only the austere identity Mortarion opposed. The structures of the Legion were dismantled and turned, the rigid hierarchies of terror were cast aside, and the Librarius was outright abolished. Its practitioners condemned under Mortarion's absolute hatred of witchcraft, mirroring the sorceress cruelty he had known on Barbarus. His influence extended into every aspect of the Death Guard. Doctrine, supply, recruitment, even the Apothecarion were reshaped under his will. Barbarus became the Legion's sole bloodline. Its population steadily transformed into both recruits and ruling caste, while old and Terran practitioners were erased or repurposed. Some whispered that the world itself might have been better purged, but Mortarion rejected such notions. Barbarus was already claimed in blood, and its sons would serve. The mortal soldiers who once fought at his side became hardened aristocracy over Barbarus, while the strongest among them, such as Callus Typhon, were elevated into Legiones Astartes. Despite the brutal cost of late induction, Barbarus itself was reduced to a living forge world of recruits, its population solely shaped for war. As the Great Crusade advanced, the Terran core of the Legion dwindled, but did not vanish. Those who remained were veterans of harsh age, grim survivors who still held their place within the Death Guard's relentless ranks, even as Mortarion's gaze increasingly turned from them towards his adopted world. Man, he turned a shithole into a shittier shithole.
Yeah, but it serves.
He didn't clean up the pollution. He's like, you know what? Let's build a manufactorum here.
It's already polluted. Let's just add to it, guys.
Yeah. I do wonder, like, what would have happened if he killed the Overlord and didn't have to go crusading? Would the planet still have taken this twist into militarism and like production? Or I wonder if he would have killed the Overlord himself, if the world would have become like peaceful and calm, maybe green.
Almost feels like he's become the new Overlord.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
like where we're talking about like his like, senior guys have become a hardened aristocracy. Like his senior guys have become the new Overlords, with him sitting on top.
Yeah, and then you have all these, just like the Overlord using the dead warriors to fight. He's using the people of Barbarus just as much too. Like,
Yeah,
and the
like he's
outcomes to save
become
corpses.
the very thing he like fought to overthrow. Almost is that the ones that weren't able to become Astartes have become the Overlords. The others have become Astartes, and the entire purpose of the planet now is to just churn out warriors for the like for someone else's war.
Yeah, like I just don't picture this is how the people thought this was gonna go once the Overlord was slain. You know,
I don't think it's how he thought it was gonna go.
no.
Like, to me, he's almost installed himself within the Legion and within the planet as his own mini emperor.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
You know, look at me.
I don't get the
everyone
vibe
has
like
to-
that's what he meant.
No, it's.
I don't get the vibe
hypocrisy.
like if it was like Fulgrim, you could see him doing it, like putting himself being like, "I'll be the emperor here."
yeah.
And
Worship
like,
me. I have my
worship
golden throne I'm
me
gonna
and
sit on.
like join the Legion and be like, I am your overlord, and like we'll crusade together. But like he doesn't give you that vibe. Like it's almost again like he's just kind of he's done it for the right reasons, but it's history's repeated itself.
Yeah.
And he's ended up in the very position that he wanted to abolish.
Yeah, yeah.
See, where you say about what would have happened had he have slain the Overlord, what would the Emperor have done? Would he have left him and the planet
Yeah.
to continue?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, he would have
No,
just.
come on. As if Big E would lose, like, turn his back on a Primarch. He would have found
Yeah.
a different way.
He
to,
would have
like,
just kidnapped him. Like we've mentioned Angron so many times already, and we'll
Yeah.
mention him again.
he'd have,
He kidnapped Angron, just
Yeah.
straight up kidnapped him.
he'd have either straight up kidnapped him or just thought of a different way to, like, quote unquote, trick him into servitude. Like,
He'd
the
have-
Emperor's like a real smart overlord kind of guy. Like, he's not going to lose a Primarch just because they've won their own personal battle.
He
He's
wouldn't
going
have
to have
virus
found
bombed
another
it.
way. Even if
He
it is just straight up kidnap.
He wouldn't
He's
have
going to
virus
find another
bombed
way
the
to get
planet.
you on board.
He would have like bug sprayed it, Febrezed it, cleaned it up.
The lighter
You know.
touch.
Or like
Yeah,
giving him like a brain vision, being like, "You'll become the very thing you fought to destroy if you don't join me."
but then in joining him, he has become.
Well, yeah,
That
but
very thing.
but the Emperor doesn't care about that. Like he's
Mm.
not below like bullshitting to get what he wants.
And again, you can talk about, the hand of the Emperor, the hand of Nurgle, and all the Chaos Gods. How much of this is nature? How much is nurture?
Yeah.
How much is the fate, the will of the gods? How much is just fate?
But it's also again like you say, like the nature and the Nurgle, like he's grown up on this planet where that is the hierarchy. You have this militaristic aristocracy that is the ruling class that has like an overlord. That's what he knows. And he
I
joins
guess
the
it's
Emperor.
just like relationships where it's like you often will marry your mother or your father because that is just what you know. You just fall into that routine. So he fell into that tyrant
And on top
routine.
of that, he joins the Empire, which, believe it or not, is a militaristic aristocracy with one guy stood on top.
Shit.
Just a little disclaimer here: I do not know anyone that married their mother or father.
Yeah, I don't know any relationships
must be a Panama thing.
That is strictly illegal.
Not literally marrying their mother or their father. Yeah.
I hear some backpedaling here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We knew.
So you guys aren't turned on by your mommy.
No. No.
Just check it.
The Queen. Well, absolutely the Queen.
Oh yeah.
Not my mummy.
Okay.
One thing back about Morty though is it doesn't seem like we're necessarily going to touch on it unless it's in this very next section, but his distinct hatred for witches.
Yeah, we never really mentioned that the Overlord was a psyker of some sort.
Yeah.
They almost even describe him as like a vampire, honestly.
I never knew if it was like what like one of the minor Xenos ones that got mentioned where they kind of like enslave the population for the purpose of
Sure.
like soul sucking. Can't remember
Yeah.
the Xenos that was, but that there
I
was one where
recall
they kind
that
of like
concept though. Yeah.
Yeah.
where they were like they gained like the supremacy of the population just so they could like just feed off the life force. They just were sustained from like the servitude of the masses type thing.
Yeah.
It's never super explained like why he
No.
hates them. He just does.
Yeah, I suppose there was some kind of psychic control, and perhaps that's why
Yeah.
the Emperor isn't quite so psychically in tuned with him like he is with other Primarchs.
Yeah, and it's also
Is
potentially another like fuel to the fire of Morty wanting
Mm,
or like being more willing to turn his back on the Emperor, potentially believing that the Emperor has this kind of sway, whether he does or he doesn't, knowing that he is like a psychic being, and maybe having that kind of psychic sway over him as a youth from the Overlords, maybe feeling that the Emperor may be kind of exerting a similar type of sway on like the
yeah.
other Primarchs, on the Astartes, on the people of like Earth, like on humanity, being like, I don't 100% trust the Emperor isn't doing that.
He probably is, but
I mean, it probably is. It's probably like Power 101, right? Just like, just believe everything the Ethereals say, and it's all fine.
so. Speaking of doubts, the Council of Nicaea. The Council of Nicaea was one of the most significant assemblies of the Great Crusade, convened by the Emperor to settle the growing dispute over the use of psychic powers within the Legions Astartes. Before the gathered Primarchs, senior commanders, and Imperial officials, that was a very odd way to say officials, arguments were made both for and against the Librarius program, with Magnus the Red defending its continued use, while opponents such as Mortarion condemned it as a path to corruption and tyranny. Mortarion stood at the Council of Nicaea and spoke against his brother Magnus the Red. Shaped by the poisoned truths of Barbarus, where psychers and sorcery had wrought only ruin, he condemned such powers without ornament or hesitation, warning that they would always lead to corruption within the Emperor's servants. Where others raged and argued, Mortarion's words were brief, cold, and devoid of passion. He offered no rhetoric, only certainty, and in stark clarity his judgment carried weight before the Emperor. His testimony cut deeper than the louder condemnations of his peers, forcing Magnus into a sharper, more defiant defense of psychic power. When the Emperor decreed the prohibition of sorcery and the dissolution of the Librarius, Mortarion regarded the ruling as vindication. The Librarians will return to the line, their powers forbidden, their future bound once more to silence and restraint. In that moment, Mortarion accepted the decision without celebration, as something inevitable rather than victorious.
weird.
Here's
Like
a
that's
question for
the.
you.
Huh.
What's your opinion? Yes to Librarius, no to Librarius. In the Great Crusade moment. Not thinking I'm a 40k. Not thinking everything that happens, but you're in the Great Crusade. Council Nicaea. Do you say yes or no to Librarius?
Yeah, for sure. Like that's just the future of humanity. Even the Emperor knows that. That like he's trying to do like a psychic ascended race or
But if the
whatever.
Emperor knows that, why is he saying no? There's got to be there's got to be a good enough reason for the man that's planning
Like
psychic humanity to say no more psychers.
But is that because he knew what the result would be? Which would
Potentially, but
lead
if anything,
to...
he has created the result by banning the council, causing the council
maybe
Nicaea and banning Zygers. Like,
maybe
I'm
he
with
just
you.
wasn't
I
ready
say
for it
yes to
yet. Like
Librarius because it seems foolish to like take a weapon out of your arsenal, right?
yeah, I just feel like yeah, maybe he just wasn't ready for it yet. Like his plans weren't fully there for the Psychers. Like he does have a way to bind Psychers. Maybe he was gonna do some like galaxy-wide binding ritual, or maybe he was gonna do some sacrifice that was gonna tip people over the edge, or who knows what he fully had planned. We never got to see it, but
It just, like, I get it. Like, obviously, he's very afraid of the warp by not telling anyone about it and kind of keeping it a bit
Yeah.
hidden, a bit secret. And I think it's potentially like maybe a final struggle to keep it hidden for another.
it's just the craziest
hundred
card
years.
that you have to play it at that right time, and if you don't play it at that right time, the whole thing's fucked.
Obviously, at the time as well, he's like doing the webway, right? So he's like, if I can just
Yeah.
hold out a little longer,
Yeah.
keep everything at bay a little longer, we get the webway, then fine. Librarians
Yeah.
can come back, we're all good. But just like a couple more centuries, 50
Yeah.
more years, however long it takes, just like we'll ban it. We'll just cut everything off for like however long it takes, just so that we could just cross that line
Yeah.
with the webway. But it also just seems crazy, right? Because at this point, they've already started to come across chaos entities. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Samus has already like entered the story at this point.
Yeah, and maybe the Emperor now has a clue that, like, oh, some of these things are starting to pick through at the Legionnaires. Maybe we need to not let them have access to this. Like, it's one thing to have navigators and astropaths, like, we can control them, but it's another to have, like, the Psychic Librarian. Like, because, Space Marines aren't the future, even though psychic
No.
powers are. Like, the Space Marines, they don't need the psychic powers to be future
But
humans because they're transhumans.
Jubal, the guy that gets possessed by like Samus, Jubal's not a librarian. He's just a legionnaire, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to
Yeah,
think like if a regular legionnaire like Jubal is going to get corrupted, maybe having 1 in 100 psychers isn't a bad thing. Like having something that's got like a counter, you know? Like if a regular legionnaire is just going to get potentially corrupted by like quote unquote demon, maybe blanket ban's not the way to go.
Yeah, but you could always use tech. Like the other thought is like we have all the Grey Knight tech he's working on. Maybe he was gonna arm them in all Grey Knight tech against them. Like we just don't
were the Grey
know
Knights
their
happening at this point, or was this
Well,
post?
Okay, so the Horus Heresy happens. That's only like a 7-year period, and over that like small little period, yeah, sure, it gets like organized and founded, and they get all this stuff. But like they had to have been working on all the tech, all the rune warding, all that armor had to have been in development for more than just 7-year period, So maybe it wasn't perfectly lined up where he knew about it now, but they had to have been doing testing and stuff, and like kind of had an inkling of how do we actually counter this, maybe through a technological means or. Yeah.
But then one would argue, why didn't they kind of like think about or instill the Grey Knights off the back of the Council of Nicaea? Right, all your librarians are now joining this new chapter.
Yeah, I just don't think chapters work that way. Like that.
No.
Yeah, like now you're
They
mixing
do now.
Gene Seed. Like now you're mixing Gene Seed. That in and of itself is like, make sure you put the right Gene Seed into. You ever hear those adoption stories where it's like 2 white people are like, yeah, we went to a sperm bank and this is Jamal, and it's a little black baby. That could have happened with the Legions. We don't want that,
It's fine. I've seen some listener lore posts where people are like, I really want to have chimeric gene seed. I'm like, do you?
It's a problem. It's tough to manage.
Can you explain why, though? That's the question.
I'm not a space geneticist. I can't explain.
You can want it all you want. But can you explain?
Yeah, we have the benefit of 2020 hindsight and all that. Like, who knows what the Emperor was seeing in Cloud? We know, like, throughout the Horus Heresy, he's trying to look into the future, and sometimes he can, sometimes he can't. And then, like, I'm sure he's being fed false visions where it's like, oh, maybe this is the right move and all that kind of stuff, and he thinks it's not, but hard to say.
This is it. Did Tzeentch just play a hand in that?
Yeah.
He doesn't listen to Magnus more.
But again, is that Tzeentch playing the Emperor?
Yeah, but like his whole vision is Magnus is going to be like sitting on the golden throne and kind of like steering the ship of humanity, right? It's like the plan, and Magnus is the one that is like the greatest, other than obviously Malcador himself, like the greatest psyker of mankind, like visions, wisdom, all this stuff, and just time after time, just completely just ignores everything he says.
That'll happen.
And just be like, nah, Magnus talking shit. I'm just going to listen to the guy that hates witches.
And but to be fair, Magnus, by the sounds of it, is making much more emotional, personal arguments.
But he's also making it from a plea of like for humanity, being like, this is personally my thing. Obviously, this isn't a Magnus episode, but this is personally my thing. Like, this is the reason you created me and my legion. This is our purpose for existence. You have created us to tread these paths and to fight these battles and wield these weapons. Without this, we are almost nothing, and you've created us for nothing. And
equally,
we all know that there are fights, enemies, and futures in humanity's future that these tools will be needed for. These weapons will be wielded. Like, this is something we can't throw away.
Equally, Mortarion's seen the flip side of that. And Mortarion's arguing
and goes, nah, hate witches, burn them.
Yeah, well, because of what they're capable of. It's kind of similar to nuclear armament versus disarmament. We've seen what they're capable of.
Yeah.
We should probably get rid of them for humanity's sake. However,
they're pretty fucking neat.
They are cool. They are cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But you know,
obviously Max's point is not just necessarily weaponized either. He's just kind of like the knowledge you glean from it as well is there. Whereas Mortarion's kind of like, you're a witch. Pretty bad. Witches are bad.
He's seen what witches are capable of or psychic powers are capable of in the wrong hands.
Well, this is true. Also,
so
I'm
do
sure
have to weigh up both sides.
I'm sure he's probably very aware of like
crazy shit, like
the flesh change and stuff as well. It's like the Thousand Sons are powerful and knowledgeable, but they also mutate into weird, uncontrollable beings.
Great guys until they mutate into uncontrollable beings.
Great guys until they turn into like a convulsing ball of roiling warp pus.
Are they the Xenos that once ruled over Mortarion?
Maybe.
Mystery solved.
The Council of Night is cool. I feel like we've done a bunch of little snippets of it. I think we need to do like a full episode where we can put all the Primarchs that were there, put all their opinions down, and get that full scope.
Is it the it's either the Thousand Sons book or the Burning Prospero or Over the Two? There's like pretty much like a full-on like play-by-play of like who says what and who stands for who. And all the major players on all the sides, like I think it is because they're basically like a 2-part book, right?
Yeah, they're like same book, different perspective, essentially.
It's the same book with different perspectives, where you've got like the Thousand Sons, and it's like from the Thousand Sons perspective, and it's pretty much from Araman, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got the Burning of Prospero, where it's from the voice of like a remembrancer, but they are attached to the Space Wolves.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I read those ones. But
it's like
like those two scenes for sure. That is cool that we get those scenes of the Council of Nike and actually
it's both sides. And you've got like Ugvaisen or whatever it is, like the rune priest, and he's like giving his like speech about like warding.
Our powers come from nature,
but he's like against like psychers, and it's like a massive blow to Araman because like they're mates, they're best mates, and they're like psycho mates, and they've saved each other in the warp a bunch of times, and he's like, oh no, I'm against this whole thing, and he's like, what? Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
so cool to listen to. Like, that whole
Yeah,
like
we'll come back to that eventually for an episode.
Yeah,
There's a
super
couple
cool.
like things in the Great Crusade that happens or that affects the Great Crusade as a whole, like the crowning of the War Master, the Council of Nicaea. Those are two big ones. I'm sure there's a couple other ones that are like
I'd say there's a couple of like campaigns as well that really define things. I don't know if we're planning on doing like specific like battles or like campaigns or whatnot, but like on murder, like I feel like that's quite a defining feature where like certain characters are kind of like sent on certain paths because of
yeah,
like the trials and tribulations they have on murder, and certain people are like sent on diverging paths where they'll never like see eye to eye because of what happens on that planet and stuff like that, you know.
yeah, but that's like like I know what you're saying, but that's like a micro
Yeah.
example as opposed to like
Yeah.
the macro of like the War Master, the Emperor's gone. Like that affected everyone. That's
Hmm.
Legion wide. That's affecting Imperial. Same with the Council. Yeah, I'll come up with a list of a couple of those. That'd be a fun little series to do those.
That'll
Like,
be fun.
what are
I
really the
will
true
say
Imperial
though,
ones? Not just
murder is
battles,
3 whole
but
legions worth.
but that only affects 3 legions. Like, and it's just one
Yeah,
battle.
that's
Like,
true.
it's really not that
That's
big a
true.
deal. Yeah,
3 out
like
of
the other
20 is, I guess, it's what, like a seventh?
yeah,
It's
like
not major.
it's not
All
that
right,
big a
I'll
deal.
concede.
Yeah.
Just like the
Even
Council of Nicaea, I'll concede.
okay. Well, let's go to the Crusades end here.
So, by the closing years of the Great Crusade, Mortarion and the Death Guard had become synonymous with inexorable compliance and victory through attrition. Which, again, before we continue, is similar to a lot of other trade legions. You get that with the like Iron Warriors. You get that a little bit with like the World Eaters, where they're not caring about casualties. They're caring about victory, and they're just
Yeah.
kind of like just grinding through, and like attrition is just the way it is. Like they'll take casualties, they don't care as long as they win.
Yeah. Somebody else can rebuild the building when we're done here. That's not their problem. Yeah.
Yeah, look, there's always more recruits. We can always hire more guys. That's fine. Let's just worry about that later. That's
Like,
the Monday problem.
likewise, what compliance and attrition. It's not necessarily talking about the Astartes. It could be the local population, which brings
Yeah.
the Night Lords in as well.
And it could be
Yeah.
like guard legions as well, right? Being like, we're just gonna send guard after guard after guard.
Yeah.
This is the way.
That's
But they were deployed into the most hostile and poisoned war zones. Much on brand. They broke worlds that others could not endure, grinding down Xenos empires, rogue human enclaves, and fortified resistance through relentless, methodical advance. Where other legions sought swift resolution, the Death Guard embodied inevitability, refusing fatigue, refusing retreat, and refusing failure. Their reputation was one of grim certainty that once arrived, a world's fate was already decided. Under Mortarion's command, they stood among the most reliable instruments of the Imperial conquest, their names spoken with a mixture of dread and reluctant respect across hundreds of star systems. Even as the galaxy remained unaware that beneath the surface of unity, fracture had already begun to spread. Ooh.
yeah.
Foreshadowing.
We'll leave the story there for the moment and pick it up in the next episode, kind of right at the end of the Crusade. They had quite the reputation, but they're like a cult reputation. Like, among the Legion, they probably were pretty well known for what they were doing, but like, would regular Imperial Guard really be knowing what they're up to? Probably not. Would regular humans know what they're up to? No. Are planets celebrating them as they leave or come? Probably not.
I was thinking about this earlier, right? Is that most Astartes legions are pretty implacable, relentless, grinding machines of war. So if you are the legion that has a reputation for being that, out of all the legions, you've probably got to be pretty
grindy.
pretty brutal and relentless, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when you throw away your 10-year investment to make one.
Yeah.
Throw it to the fucking wind.
Like,
Whatever.
obviously, like the Iron Warriors, well known for like brutal, relentless stuff, but they're not quite on the same length as Death Guard, right? Because they're like, we're pretty brutal and relentless, but we'd rather use artillery to like grind them down than like or guard. We'll use artillery and guard to grind them down. Whereas the Death Guard's like, no, I'll just walk in. It's fine. I'll just walk on through.
Yeah, they they just walk. That's battlefield tactic, I guess. Can you walk? You can be a Death Guard.
It's the inevitable walk to everyone's death.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that plague setting in, creeping on, and which kind of it feeds into everything that comes, which I think is great. All the way through, it's almost this inevitability of the end product. Yeah, I really love it. Just it's going to happen. You can't change it.
What we were saying earlier as well about their like wargear and stuff is how that just like utilitarian aspect kind of feeds into the wargear, where they're like, I'm not going to make it super shiny, super pristine like an Emperor's Children might. Like the purpose.
If it gets a little dust on it and it breaks, not our weapon.
Not a problem. Bit of grime, bit of rust, bit of like oil. Who cares? It's a piece of armor. It's a bit of weapon. Like its purpose isn't to look pretty. It's to help me smash my way through.
Yeah, and even with Mortarion's armor, you can see a lot of his personality kind of just showing through. Like, you know, kind of who he is with his vibe just by looking at him for sure. On Barbarus, Mortarion was shaped by poison, oppression, and constant death. His personality is defined by grim endurance and a cold, unyielding sense of justice. He is introspective but unyielding, quick to judge tyranny and slower to trust anything that presents itself as an authority. Even in his youth, there was little warmth in him, only resolve, a stoic refusal to accept suffering as inevitable for others while he still draws breath. During the Great Crusade, that resolve hardens into something more absolute. Mortarion becomes increasingly remote, his stoicism deepening into near total emotional restraint. He values endurance above all else, seeing mercy as weakness and hesitation as death. While he remains driven by the desire to end oppression, his methods grow more severe and indiscriminate. His methods grow more severe and indiscriminate, and his worldview narrows into inevitability, victory through attrition, survival through suffering, and the belief that only the relentless deserve to endure. Yeah, really fun guy to hang out with, eh?
It definitely sounds as well like he snowballs, right? He starts off Mortarion light, and by the end of the Great Crusade, he just full on like
full on tyrant.
Full on tyrant.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting exterminated. It's fine. Virus bombed it up.
I mean, it also comes from how he argued at the Council of Nicaea. It was very facts, figures. This is what I've done. This is what it will be. This is my experience. Therefore, it must be so. And it's that confirmation bias almost. You can start to see that playing. He's surrounding himself with, you know, fellow survivors of Barbarus. He's changing the culture within the Legion. He's already undermining and working against the Terran-born veterans. The Council of Nicaea goes his way. He sees it as this inevitability. But it's not a victory because he said it as it was, and it was so. So it's not a win. It's just, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just showing people the inevitable right path almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so you can see
I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of Primarchs that have got kind of that Forcia inevitability complex where they're like, whatever I deem and believe is the way things are, right?
Yeah.
In fairness, if I was a superhuman, it would probably go to my head as well.
Probably.
Maybe.
Like, yes, I would, but then again, when like, I don't know if this is just my feeble mortal mind playing tricks on me, right? But when coming into contact with other superhumans, and a superhuman that's more superhuman than you, then you might question it.
Yeah, but one of them's red, and one of them likes wolves, and
Yeah, true. If I was the only superhuman, I'd get it and be like, I am God. But like when there's like 20 of you, and then one that's even bigger than all of you, and he's like, I am your father. Double netting. You might have pause. Even with the ego
You
of
might.
some of these Primarchs, you might turn around and be like, maybe.
Nah.
no,
Maybe not.
Nah.
I mean, Mortarion's inevitability is already setting him before he meets the Big E, before he
Yeah, but
meets other Primarchs.
Potentially,
Yeah.
does he falter when he fails his quest to overthrow the Warlord, and he has to be rescued, and the Primarch and the Emperor does it for him?
See, for me, he then the inevitability comes in. He honors his word. He goes and crusades with Daddy. That's
Or-
so.
Yeah.
There were going to be two results. One was going to be inevitable.
Or is it confirmation bias that even though he failed, the Overlord was still overthrown? And therefore,
Yeah.
the inevitable became inevitable because he didn't have to overthrow the Overlord himself. He didn't have to be victorious. That eventuality was always going to come to pass. Therefore, his belief in the inevitable is vindicated because even through his failure, it came to pass.
Yeah, there's so many ways you can play it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, one way or another.
We're getting deep this episode. There's some serious philosophy happening today. In the mind and ways of Mortarion.
So, speaking of which,
Speaking of philosophy,
his philosophy is founded upon endurance, self-reliance, and the rejection of all who would dominate others through fear or unnatural power. That's quite an interesting wording there, and quite giving. To him, suffering is neither avoided nor lamented, but endured until victory is won. He believed no warrior should rely upon miracles, psychic gifts, or the strength of another to overcome hardship. Instead, survival, discipline, and unwavering resolve were the only virtues worthy of respect. In Mortarion's eyes, freedom was earned through relentless struggle, and only those willing to bear the full weight of hardship without yielding possessed the right to shape humanity's future. Bit hypocritical.
A little bit. Yeah.
yeah, touch.
You know, strength of another. Well, I was saved by Dad, but you guys aren't allowed that.
Yeah, and he is a psyker, my dad. Yeah, but you guys aren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
But he doesn't control everyone with his mind. God.
And again, the hypocrisy of the rejection of all who would dominate through fear or unnatural power.
Yeah,
you're a Primarch, dude. That's unnatural.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that touches again back onto like the psycho side of things. Like he values raw, like physical might and strength and power, and like martial prowess over someone that could like best him through psychic means. Like natural power being like, you can beat me in a sword fight, fair enough. But you can't beat me in a sword fight, but you can beat me because you like pushed me over with your mind. I don't respect that. I'm not here for that, you know.
To me,
that
it doesn't even read as that.
Anti-witch.
To me, it doesn't even read as that. You can be better than me, but I still think you're below me because you can't go through as much shit as I can. Like it's that whole. It doesn't matter how you hit; it's how you get back up. That sort of approach. You know, yeah, okay, you can hit me 5 times, but I
didn't
take
hear
it
no
7.
bell.
That's it. Yeah. And that to me is where he's got respect. Like Lehman Russ, he's all about the raw power. Just let's go and have a tear up. Who gives a damn? see who's
Yeah.
stronger. And then Mortarion is like, yeah, you just coming up once more with like massive swollen eye, you know, his jaw hanging off. But no, I'm still going.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of that, a bit of that, but also the anti-witch. Like, if you can make me not get up through brute strength, all right, maybe I'll accept it.
Yeah.
But if there's any form of witchery in there, if there's a hint, a single, which then argues, obviously the Primarch project has got a little hint of warpery in there from the get-go.
Warpery.
Would he then say that no Primarch could beat him without the touch of chaos, or like the warp? No Primarch could beat him through natural means because all Primarchs have a touch of warp.
Yeah, but you've got Primarchs that are quite set against, like even the Loyalists, Rogue or Dawn.
Yeah, but would you see him use that argument, like in his mind, being like, "Wow, like you couldn't have beat me if it wasn't for the fact that you're a warpy Primarch"?
Wolfie.
I mean, no, I think like if say Mortarion and Dawn in this, you know, showdown, if Dawn just outclassed him, I think he's going to have to accept that. Likewise, if he gets shot down by one of his legionnaires, he's going to have to accept it.
Yeah,
it could be inevitable that this happens because of
it could be inevitable.
Whatever. But
the only thing is, like with other Primarchs, is like the touch of the warp and the fact that almost again, like he got felled on his way to the final mission, but has still achieved his mission and still came out triumphant. Is that he maybe failed, but it was predestiny and the touch of the warp that's done that. But ultimately, it doesn't mean that he's not still going to be victorious down the line, right? Like,
I mean,
Dawn might beat him in the sword fight, but 10 years down the line, maybe Mortarion nicked his cheek, and that's going to get infected, and you know,
in it for the
What a way
long
to
haul.
Jeez.
Well, there's been a couple of kings and stuff like that where a wound has gotten infected and they've died from that rather than actually dying in a cool way.
Yeah, like weeks later, years later, or whatever, you know. Yeah.
But so we say about like the touch of the warp. Does that mean Mortarion considers himself a psyker because of the touch of the warp?
See, that's the thing. Like, he seems super. Like, he does seem a bit hypocritical about stuff. Like, it seems that we've seemed to have reached a consensus that all Primarchs have some degree of warp touch. Whether it's like precognition or power to manipulate the warp or whatever, they all have quite a burning presence and some handling of it to one degree or the other. He's not a blank.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like I could name a handful that don't have powers. Like Reboot Gilliman doesn't have powers.
No, but
Portarabo doesn't have powers. But yeah, like he's definitely hypocritical. Where it's like he maybe isn't a psyker to begin with, but he becomes one. Like he definitely always becomes everything that he hates. This guy.
What I mean with like the Primarchs is they may not necessarily be psychers, but they have like a touch or presence of the warp about them, right? Like, they may not necessarily be manipulating things or precognitive or moving stuff around, but they have some
nice,
form
tasty
of
soul.
It's a nice, tasty soul, and they've got something. They have more warp power than your average like human. They may not be like a librarian where they can actually manipulate the warp, all of them, but they have some degree of, because if you think about it, even guys like the lion can skip from one place to another, like Borax can like basically become invisible. They all have some degree somewhere along the line, whether it's been like super explored in books or not. They all have some form of individual warpery.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they are
Yeah.
beings of the warp ultimately, right?
No, I don't know about that, man. They're flesh and blood. They're beings
They
of
are flesh and blood,
science.
but the pact of the
Yeah, no,
Emperor and
I think what I'm getting hooked up is you're saying they all, and I'm like, nah, not all of them though. Most of them, sure, but not all of them. Like some of
but
them
maybe
don't
we just
have
don't know about it.
any. Well, then I would say that's a pretty good reason that they don't have it. To
Well, yeah, that's true, I suppose.
I like I said, I agree with 90% of that. I just feel like there's a couple that don't fall into that, and I think it is key that not all of them are made for some psychic outcome or some psychic duty, or not all of them had some grand plan that the Emperor had for them, where it's like, oh, he's gonna be my information agent. Like some of it just fucking happens. I think.
Again, nature or nurture.
Yeah, exactly.
You,
Yeah, I guess.
you might say that, you know, a lot of them falling into their roles is not inevitable. So Mortarion's wrong.
Maybe.
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 So, did we discuss his hatred for tyrants?
No.
Tell me about it.
Okay, well, he has a hatred for tyrants, having spent his youth entirely beneath the cruel rule of Barbarus's overlords. Mortarion developed an enduring hatred for tyranny in all its forms. He viewed those who rule through fear, privilege, or supernatural power as parasites upon humanity, deserving only destruction. Where Xenos overlords, corrupt rulers, or psychic despots, Mortarion judged all tyrants by the same measure, believing no authority was justified unless it was earned through sacrifice and shared hardship.
Yeah. No nepotism here for this guy.
No, and I guess that kind of like leads in as well to like his swaying from the Emperor. It's like once the Emperor makes his decision to go back to Terra, and he's no longer on the front line earning the victories with
loses that little bit of
the
respect.
Legion, with the Primarchs. He loses that respect, and he becomes that tyrant where he's sending others to fight his battles for him, type thing.
Yeah, and like that is the main reason why he kind of goes against the Emperor and stuff. He just ultimately doesn't like tyrants. He doesn't like that he was bound to this guy. Like, oh, so you saved me just to turn me into a slave yourself? Like, that's not freedom. That's not savior. Like, just another tyrant.
Is he a tyrant? Because Mortarion did agree to it.
Yeah, you
but he
know,
also felt he didn't necessarily have a choice,
tyrants
right?
and there's benevolent tyrants. You know, the Emperor could have been a benevolent tyrant and be like, you know, I don't have to do this to you. I could.
It's
Also,
almost like
I could save you from this noxious gas that is knocking you out on the top of this mountain, or I could let you die here. I could save you and complete your quest for you, and you come and serve me through victory, or you die on this mountaintop as a failure.
Yeah, but isn't that pride?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know,
either way, he doesn't like the tyrant.
No.
Doesn't like being told what to do. Doesn't like if you challenge him, he'll accept your challenge, and
he's very headstrong. Every time I hear his dialogue in the Horus Heresy books, he always makes a ton of sense. But I know deep down, like, he's talking from like a real point of view of like prejudice and just like real bitterness of like anyone that's got any power be like, I hate you. You've got control. I hate you. But like the words he says always make tons of sense. Like he's always like super reasonable.
Yeah. Super. So his appearance. Mortarion appears as a towering corpse, pale Primarch. His frame lean and austerely built rather than ornate with excess muscles. His skin carries the ashen pallor of Barbarus's poisonous atmosphere, and his presence is quiet, severe, and almost funeral in stillness. There is little softness in him, even unarmored, only the impression of something enduring. What it was never meant to survive. His gaze is cold and assessing, as if even without wargear, he remains permanently at war with the idea of weakness itself. In armor, Mortarion becomes even more unmistakable figure of inevitability. The ceramite of the Death Guard encases him like a second monolithic body, often stripped and adorned and marked in muted and corrosive tones. His respirator defines his silhouette, a constant reminder of Barbarus's toxic air, while his great scythe completes the image of such a walking executioner. Nothing about the armor transforms him so much as it reinforces what he already is, a grim and stoic embodiment of endurance and death made manifest through silence and iron.
See, this is something I thought about earlier, right? He's a Primarch. Super, I think I discussed it at the start of the episode. He's a super healable, super sonic, and filter out all kinds of chaos and corruption, right? But he still needs a respirator. Still needs that. Like, he never heals back from that. Like, is Barbarus that bad? Or is it that he was always... Like, we discussed it potentially like that chaos taint, right?
I'm pretty sure he has canisters on his back that is filled with like Barbarus's air that he pumps into his like vicinity. And then
Almost
like people
the
around him get
Scarecrow
sick.
from,
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, so he's constantly breathing it, so maybe that helps keep him a nice white. But
at the same time,
yeah,
what? Like, other than just beautiful
I
glassy
I also
complexion.
think it's like warp touch. We're like, well, why is Magnus red? He was fucking touched by the warp. He got flung through the warp. Leave poor white Morty alone.
Yeah, but red skin is one thing, but like not being able to breathe when you're like a super strong, like if like same as like the other Primarchs, right? Like they've got skin colors, complexions, things like this, things that the other, but like an actual like deficiency. Like a skin color is not necessarily a deficiency, but like not being able to breathe properly.
That's fine. It adds character.
Fine, as long as you got a couple tanks of Barbarus air, you're fine.
Yeah, you're not running. You don't need fucking cardio. You're just walking forward. You don't need to be able to breathe. It's fine.
He's always like in the books, in his dialogue, he's always like coughing and spluttering and like wheezing and rasping. I'm like, come on, it's been hundreds of years, dude.
That black mold. You can't get rid of the black mold in the lung.
I
don't know what to tell you.
Get over
He's got
like,
super space warped black mold.
His Primarch lungs can expel that horrendous black mold. That's all I'm saying.
Moving on to wargear. Let's talk about how he's kitted out. Mortarion's wargear is functional, brutal, and stripped of ornament, reflecting his belief that survival is measured in endurance rather than display. His armor, the Death Guard's distinctive plate, is typically rendered in dull, unadorned tones of ivory or grey, later increasingly muted and corroded as the Legion embraces Barbarus's aesthetic of decay. It is built for resilience above all else, reinforced to withstand the most hostile environments and the slow attrition of chemical and biological war zones. His rebreather and sealed systems are not symbols but necessities, a reminder of Barbarus's poisoned air made permanent in iron. At his side, he bears a great scythe, a weapon that has become as much emblem as tool, its sweeping blade suited to execution and harvest alike, reinforcing Mortarion's identity as an unrelenting bringer of death through patience, inevitability, and attrition. I'm slightly reading the rebreather almost as I was weak at this point. I want this system just to help me along. He's acknowledged his weakness at that point. This is going to remind me of my weakness to make me keep going.
Huh. Yeah.
That's the way I'm reading it.
Yeah.
It's one way to discipline yourself for sure.
Yeah.
I like to give myself a pat on the back. He likes to poison gas himself.
Yeah,
To each their own.
maybe it is that kind of like if I can, that same kind of like ego. Like if I can best you with my poisoned lungs, like he's never at 100%. Like he's always at like that 90% because he's constantly got that kind of rebreather going. Potentially,
Just
right?
take it off. You'll feel better. Just take the damn thing off.
Just think how sweaty it is under there.
Don't
Oh,
even.
god damn.
That's where the black mold's coming from.
That's what. Yeah, you're not fighting that. 10,000 years of fucking mask black mold right into your lung.
It's just the same cycled air just going back and forth.
Yeah. So he's
Because
wearing the.
there are
Barbarus
images with
booty.
him without it.
There's a couple. Yeah, I could find one here while you read.
Because there's the images of him without it. Like it just seems like it's part of his wargear. When he goes into battle, he has it on. But sometimes, like it sounds like I don't know. In the books, sometimes he's in like council with it on, and other times he's not. And there's like artwork, like you've got like the sketch work where he's not got it on.
Yeah, and even this picture, like he's not wearing it, which is crazy. Like his 30K mini doesn't have
No,
it on.
it does seem to be like it's a pick and a choose when he throws it on or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of vaguely described like he had like little fucking like little air holes and stuff that came up from his armor, like under his armor that like shot stuff up, and like people around him could smell it too. It wasn't just like his mask, like
Yeah.
I kind
Like,
of vaguely recall it, but
I've seen a few bits of artwork and heard a few different books where it describes it in different ways. Where sometimes it's like Scarecrow, right? Like where he's got like that oxygen mask that's like pumping chemicals into him so that he's constantly breathing the air of Barbarus because that's like what his lungs have become like accustomed to. And there's other times I've heard it where it's like, like Double Nerd, like Batman, where you've got Dr. Freeze, where he's kind of got like the spurting of like the Sub-Zero around him to kind of like keep his head below that kind of like temperature. But it's like, is that like he's actually kind of like maintaining like an atmosphere around his head of like barbarous air. I've kind of heard a few different things, but again, that kind of leans into the question of like, as a Primarch with like super sonic physiology, why like crazy that you've become so reliant or redundant on shitty air?
I don't know what to tell you. He's a fucking gross guy. I don't
feel
know
like
what
I'm
to tell
always
you.
the guy that's
You're
like,
hung up
what's
on this
going on?
that he likes to smell his own farts. This is the god of
Yeah, well, there we go.
decay.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Alright,
Are we?
Likes
Are we?
farts.
Yeah.
I accept it.
Are we really questioning GW logic at any point now?
I mean, I'm always questioning their ammo counts, their weights.
Well, that's fair. That you have to do, but
Well, you've got to question that, right? But every episode, I'm like, hang about, what's happening here?
Perhaps Morty. Perhaps it's just one of his kinks. All right. Perhaps
Maybe
one of those
it's just a
guys.
kink. I shouldn't kink shame, right? So the Barbarus plate is Mortarion's war panoply, crafted by his own design, fusing ancient power armor with his personal doctrines. It is made to protect him in battle and sustain his singular physiology, filtering the poisonous vapors of Barbarus into the air he breathes. He is an imposing figure, gaunt and pale, his face half hidden beneath a cowl and rebreather, a relic of survival in the poisoned world that shaped him. A simple iron crown nests within the hood, unadorned and severe, reflecting a mind stripped of excess and shaped by endurance. He is utilitarian and uncompromising, and his armor reflects that truth in its dark, functional design. Unlike many among the Death Guard, his armor is maintained with grim discipline, its service largely uncorrupted by ornate excesses. His presence and wargear show no indulgence, only restraint, endurance, and the certainty of attrition warfare. The Barbarus legacy lingers in every seal and filtration system, a constant reminder of the poisoned origin from where he was forged. Even among the Primarchs of the Great Crusade, Mortarion's war panoply stands apart, not as ornament, but as a weapon of survival, endurance, and silent, inexorable death in the long wars of compliance and campaigns. Yeah, there's a few like this one as well. There's a few images where it's like that one, where it's almost like a Sisters of Silence cowl, like that venting on the front that like spurts oxygen into him. And there's other ones where it's like the full on like rebreather like oxygen mask.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on era and stuff, but but hold on. We're not going back to the fucking goddamn mask. We're moving past the mask.
I'm just saying, like, it's cool.
We're back
It's
to him
cool.
smelling his own farts is all. How do we get here?
No, I'm just saying it's cool that he's kind of got that look. He's got those two kind of like looks. I personally prefer him like that scarecrow oxygen mask look.
Yeah.
Rather than like the Sister of Silence, like the venting,
gross mouth and teeth, and like have him spit when he talks at me. I like that look. Yeah. He also has a pistol called Silence. Oh no, sorry, this is his scythe. And he named it in grim acknowledgement. And it's a two-handed scythe whose blade rivals the height of a man, forged for execution rather than sport or ceremony. It is amongst the most feared weapons carried by the Primarchs. Since its first appearance during Mortarion's rise on Barbarus and his later integration into the Imperium, whispers have followed its presence, some claiming it bears the origins not of a human forge, but of alien craft. Others recalling the terrors of his youth, suggesting it was taken from the tyrant who once ruled as his false father. As across the years of war and conquest, Silence has endured unchanged in purpose, becoming a weapon of absolute finality in Mortarion's hands. Its reputation spreading through the compliance wars as a symbol of inevitable death. Yeah, it's funny.
It does
like
look weird.
Yeah, like it's funny. Like it looks weird. It's not a weapon, but it means death, even though it's not. Like it's weird how we associate it with that.
I mean as well, it's like it does have a slight alien look about it. It doesn't look like a regular, like, you know, like Grim Reaper scythe. It's got like a strange shape to like the outer blade of it. It's
fancy.
It's got to be, it's got to be one of the most iconic Primarch weapons.
Yeah.
Look, it's even got little teeth on the bottom end of it. Little chain blade teeth.
Nom.
Yeah, for eating. So that's nice.
I mean,
you can tell it's not just like a regular like farming tool. Like it's definitely meant for more than just chopping some wheat. It's angry.
I don't care if I'm cutting bodies or cutting wheat. I'm making the harvest pay.
He's cutting. He be cutting.
Yeah.
So if his arms get tired from throwing around that massive scythe, Mortarion also has a drum-barreled directed energy weapon called the Lantern, carried as a sidearm. It was forged by craftsmen who once led a cult of draconic killers upon the industrial world of Shenlong. During its compliance to the Great Crusade, the Emperor eradicated the cult, and the weapon was recovered and placed into Mortarion's possession without ceremony or reverence. There's a pistol. It's pretty cool. Have at it.
Also, it might be from China, from a dragon cult.
Yeah, I remember it in like some of the books. It's not like a laswa. It's super powerful, but it's not like a noted type of energy weapon. You know, like it's not las, it's not plasma, it's not like anything specific. It's really badass, and it's energy, and it's Morty's, and that's that.
I mean,
but I remember it being a pretty badass weapon.
Yeah, it's directed energy. So you could actually claim a flamethrower as directed energy.
Yeah, true enough. True enough.
I suppose.
But on top of that, he has some phosphex bombs as well. So if he can't chop it, he can't shoot it, he can throw a number of bombs of his own design, which hang from his armor in the shape of ritual canisters. So I think, isn't phosphex like a chemical fire weapon?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That like can't extinguish even underwater. I think it even burns in the void of space. We learned.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, like that's one of the things they drop on like Isfan 3 is because it's like white phosphorus but worse. Like void of space, like it just eats through stuff.
It's white phosphorus in space.
Excellent. Well, he's got
Yes.
them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll just rename phosphorus to phosphex. Therefore, we can use it under the Geneva Convention because it's not phosphorus anymore.
exactly.
Excellent. Clever. Clever.
Smart
Here we
loose
come,
stuff.
war crimes. Yeah, very nice.
It's not a war crime if it's your first time.
Okay, I'll use that in the court of law. I'm sure it will do me well.
I mean, all I'm saying is Canada, World War One. Don't look too closely.
Ooh, shots fired.
Fuck that place. Well, that was Mortarion, the first little bit of him. I think we got a good vibe of him. He's kind of like this. He kind of becomes everything he hates ultimately. He's also a hypocrite too. And ultimately, I think he gets the fate he deserves of becoming this like fiend,
and having to like
himself.
become a tyrant, and ultimately, obviously, again, no spoilers in what happens in the end, but he hates psychers and ultimately becomes the slave of a chaos god. Right?
And
like,
he himself becomes a psyker.
yeah. But as much as he's a hypocrite and a moany bastard, I still love him. There's something about him that I'm just like, you know what? I like this guy.
Nice. Fishy, how do you feel about him after this one episode? Said you kind of were going into it not knowing a whole bunch.
Yeah, no, I like that he leads from the whole leadership from the front. Fantastic. All about that, going and fighting with the lads. His utilitarianism is matter of fact. I don't like his hypocrisy. I'm not a fan of that. I like his message. I don't the fact he ignores his own message.
Isn't that just the way like everyone with a strong opinion is though? Like they have some fucking thing that like you're like, dude, pull the peg out of your eye before you start poking mine. Like
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. After his upbringing, yeah, he's gonna have faults. We're not perfect. I like him. I think the way his backstory comes around, how he comes to serve in the Crusades, how he forms his legion, how they then turn. I think it is just so on brand for Nurgle, for Morty, just a lot.
yeah, it's fun. It's nice.
Yeah,
I
completely
like to
disagree with like 90% of everything he stands for, but there's just something about him. I'm just like, you know what? I like this guy.
Cool. Well, that's that episode of Lorehammer. Episode 240, Mortarion Origins and Great Crusade Finito. I've learned so much. We're gonna carry on in the next episode, keep going down his and his Death Guard's kind of journey. And come check out Lorehammer Listen to Lore podcast. You can come submit your lore and read it off and do whatever. Come check out that Lorehammer Listen to Lore podcast. You boys don't have any feeds. I feel like you don't ever really have anything important.
No, I honestly, especially, not really. Definitely not Warhammer related. Just, you know.
Well, just give us your personal address then. We're fine with just that.
That's fine.
I will
Come
send.
round, chill out. Walk the dog, you know, no biggie.
I will send nipple pictures through the post.
Now we're talking.
Yeah,
okay.
Fishy's branching out into a new market.
Curiosity.
It's called Only Nips.
Only nips.
I'm in.
Only
Son of a
fishy
bitch, I'm
nips.
in. Fuck, only fishy nips. Cool. Well, go check that out, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Adios.